Okay, so it seems like we got some news for Wuthering Waves, which has actually just come out about an hour ago, which is to do with the whole kind of controversy that's been going on in the Wuthering Waves community for the past, week or so. I mean, this has been probably the most, kind of nothing burger of a drama that I've ever seen. It's just okay, why are we even arguing at this point? And well, it's actually the devs have acknowledged the change to Fleurdelys and that they will be having to make some changes in the future due to time constraints. And we're going to be going through this kind of reply, talking about it, and also talking about, some other changes that they made, obviously, with Cantarella. But if you guys don't know what actually happened previously, pretty much what happened was, obviously, version 2.2 came out. They released characters like Cantarella and Cartethia. They had some pretty interesting design features on them, which obviously a lot of people are really enjoying and really liked. And then obviously eventually they had to take it away. We had the age rating change for Wuthering Waves, went up to a 16, then they took it away, and now it seems like they've made a reply to this. Now, this was the main point that people were bringing up was, hey, will Wuthering Waves actually make a statement and talk about this? And it seems like this has happened. They say makes a lot of sense to me. Kuro is not known for skimping out on model quality and details, and if they do, they always address and fix it, like Jinshi's paid skin again. They say, we applied a hotfix to the current version on the 2025 9th of April at 6:30, addressing issues with the performance of the enemy model for Fleurdelys in the weekly challenge, the Wheel of Broken Fate. Due to time constraints, the results have not fully yet met our expectations. We will continue to refine the design in future versions. Please stay tuned for official announcements. Thank you for your support and understanding. So this is pretty much what's happened. This person says here, basically this reads to me, the CCP gave us an hour to fix this, or they're taking the game down, so we did a rush job, but we'll come back and fix it or change it or whatever, which I definitely think is true. Obviously, they said they had that with the Jinshi skin before as well, and I think it is definitely the case of the, Wuthering Waves were kind of forced to make this decision. It wasn't the fact that Wuthering Waves wanted to take away anything or they wanted to take things away from the players. Obviously, if they couldn't, they probably wouldn't, and the thing is, it's just more of a outside source that they can't really kind of control. Obviously, tons of people were very angry. As I said in my previous videos, I had tons of people in the comments being like, we don't care about the new event that's coming up. For example, I talked about a new anniversary event, which is dropping. And, people were like, we don't care about this. I just want this to be fixed, which is totally, it's totally valid. But the thing is, I think it is going a little bit too far on some small details like this, unless they changed an entire character. But at the same time as well, they were getting very angry at Kuro Games directly, when in actual fact, it's more to do with the CCP. Now, obviously, we talked about other stuff as well, including Wuthering Waves, and how there might be some groups over in China actually kind of reporting the game, which is what actually started this entire thing to actually happen in the first place. Because the Chinese government doesn't actually go out of their way to go and look for this kind of stuff going on. They just rely on user reports and things, and obviously groups, full of either Hoyo shills or full of literally any other group. I'm not saying it's directly this group, by the way. This was only a little bit of evidence by some random dude on Twitter. Let's be real, it's a random dude on Twitter. How much are we going to believe this? It was just a little bit weird to me, but obviously it does make a lot of sense. But also it could be some other groups involved, but I definitely do think there was some element of mass reporting from whoever it came from. And well, yeah, obviously the Chinese government, they don't go out looking for it, but they receive reports, and obviously getting a ton of reports all at once of this one game, well, they're going to go ahead and take a look, and that's what caused the change that we saw right now. And well, it seems like they weren't very happy with that. They obviously contacted Kuro Games, told them to take it down, and yeah, as this person says, it's they're like, oh, you got a couple of hours to fix this, else we're taking the game down, or we're changing the rating, whatever. And now Kuro Games have had to go ahead and actually, make these changes, and it's probably why we saw that age rating change as well, which obviously I think a lot of us kind of understood already, but I think we're mainly waiting for a kind of response from Kuro Games, because not only were people mad at the changes that were made, obviously, yes, I can understand, it's annoying that they changed it later on. And, obviously we brought it up in videos, it's been in the TOS, it's really not that big of a deal, especially if it's in the TOS that, they're allowed to do it. Obviously people are mad because they didn't read it, but the thing is as well, it's just it just really wasn't that much of a big deal. And hopefully, this kind of reply does satisfy a lot of people, because that's the other thing that people were mad about. Not just the change initially, the fact that Wuthering Waves and Kuro Games didn't actually say anything about it, which, yeah, we've now got a response. But they don't actually address the Cantarella stuff and how they changed some of the Cantarella details. So maybe they'll like release something else talking about that as well, maybe in the upcoming days. I'll definitely keep you guys updated if that is to happen. But it seems like, you know, they're obviously addressing one thing, which kind of also addresses the other, although they didn't, you know, mention it directly. So again, we're gonna have to wait and see if they do actually do some kind of thing with that, because it was kind of a rush job. Now, obviously, yeah, people were in the comments saying, we're so back, it's so over, we're so back, it's so over, bros, it's over, we're back. Which again, I didn't have any doubt in Kuro Games and Wuthering Waves that they wouldn't do anything. You know, let's just be real, this is a company that always listens, it always listens to its player base, and it seems like this is just yet another time when they've done that. And I feel like Kuro Games keeps on showing that they are on top, and that they are, you know, this company that isn't like miHoYo, because I think a lot of people were worried that they were going to go down the miHoYo route of just kind of like censoring stuff, doing whatever they want, not addressing the players, but it seems like they haven't done that, and that they're trying to actually be as friendly as, you know, to the players as possible, while also in the kind of constraints that they're in, because it's not easy to kind of, you know, navigate this kind of stuff, you know, working with the Chinese government, you know, them constantly being on their backs about these kind of designs, but also wanting to keep the players happy, wanting to, you know, give them feedback on what everything is going on. Now, I do agree, Kuro Games definitely should have released a statement the day it came out or the day after it came out, because again, it did kind of spiral into this whole week of drama, which, you know, is great for people like me because, you know, we've got a ton of views of the videos of it, but it's not great for Wuthering Waves because obviously there's some people leaving, some people getting angry at the game, which honestly I do think is irrational. Like, they shouldn't be leaving the game over such a small detail. But, you know, the matter of the fact is there was some people doing that. And if they made maybe a like apology or like a kind of statement earlier, then that might have prevented a couple of the things, which honestly I think is really good, or would be really good for the game. But I do think, you know, it's better, you know, late than never, I guess. And I did have faith that they would kind of write something at some point, and well, you know, today is the day. Obviously, they say the fact that they just addressed it directly was because of the CCP is enough for me. I'm satisfied. Good to hear they plan on giving a better fix as well. Yeah, that's also another good thing as well. It's not like they've gone into the notes and they've been like, hey, we made this change, deal with it. Like, they didn't say that. They said, okay, this was just a quick change, you know, we had to change it because obviously time constraints, you know, obviously the Chinese government getting involved. And then they'll change it later on when they've got a little bit more time and a little bit more time to make some adjustments so that they can, you know, kind of make it better for everyone. Now, I don't know what these changes are going to be, or if they're going to revert it back, or if they're just going to try to think of an even better design that they can kind of add on to it. And I don't know how that's going to work with kind of rolling it out as well, because obviously there's going to be some people with swaying opinions on whether they like this new design or not. I don't know if, you know, how far they're going to go with a different kind of design. I doubt they'll go that far, but again, you know, it's such a small thing. Obviously, yeah, we're at this stage now, the cycle shall continue. They're cooking, they messed up, player complaints, devs listen, they're cooking, which again, it is quite funny that this is a kind of thing that is constantly happening in the community, is that, you know, 1 minute is all over, the next minute is good, and that's why I continue to keep faith in Kuro Games, as I said throughout this video, you know, I keep continuing to have faith because the cycle does keep going like that, and it does keep going on, because yes, Kuro Games might be a little bit slow at addressing this kind of stuff, but they do in the end, and it's much better than, you know, some companies out there that don't address it at all. You know, people are sat there like, oh, maybe they'll address it soon, right? All right, it's been 6 months, you know. For example, you know, Genshin Impact, the Genshin Impact anime, yeah, they've addressed that, haven't they? Yeah, Nintendo Switch, yeah, they've addressed that one too, haven't they? You know, at least Kuro Games goes ahead and addresses it fairly quickly and doesn't wait months and months for this, which is really nice. They say, to be honest, half the people were not mad at Kuro. They did not even pull Cantarella or saw Fleurdelys or notice that thing. People were mad on those jealous bucks who did the mass reporting for just hating wuwa and Cantarella, which, yeah, is true. A lot of people are obviously angry at the fact that it's being mass reported, not necessarily at the fact of this update, which is also a very valid point. You know, there's very different things to get kind of angry about. They say, at least they acknowledge it. That is enough for me at the moment. So it seems like the kind of like player feedback and everything that you know, the player kind of, I guess, comments in regards to this notice is actually really positive. And people are, because obviously, yes, I was saying there's people that's very angry in the comments. I think they've been kind of swayed here. They say, you know, that's enough for me at the moment. Obviously, we're gonna have to see what kind of changes they make. They say, we love you, Kuro. finally I'm satisfied now. I was already worried that they're doing it in a silent way, which, yeah, obviously I can understand the kind of worry, but obviously as we've looked at previous kind of incidents and things that have happened with Kuro, especially with the Jinshi stuff and everything like that, we can see that they do make these changes. They say, I'm still sad that this happened because of the cult mass reports. As a player of both ZCC and wuwa, I simply want to enjoy my time in those two games, which is true, yeah. It's very sad that, you know, these kind of people have resorted to mass reporting and that this has even happened in the first place. I think that's the main thing that people are now focusing on in this kind of situation in general, is not the fact of the censorship and how, you know, the devs have listened to this now and now they're going to change some stuff around. It's the fact that this happened in the first place due to the mass reports, due to a lot of people hating on the game for absolutely no reason. And it seems like there is this kind of massive agenda against Wuthering Waves once again. There always has been kind of in the background. It's been kind of hard to project to a lot of people, but there has been a lot of hatred for the game, which is very, very worrying. But it seems like they are picking it back up now. Hopefully we do see some changes coming to the game soon, especially with Cartathia, and hopefully they address the Cantarella stuff directly as well. But so far, it seems like the community in general are pretty happy with this change and are pretty happy with the notice that they've gotten out, because at least the devs have acknowledged it and said that they're working to change it in the future. Probably we'll see it in the anniversary update, which is coming out in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go over to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.